Raphael signed this painting, just not on the canvas. His full formal signature, the exact same one he used on his greatest works, is written on the bracelet on her arm. Now, in a moment, I'm going to show you what else is in this painting. And there are at least 3 other details in here that are just as difficult to explain as that bracelet. But to understand any of them, you first need to know who this woman is. And that turns out to be one of the most contested questions in 5 centuries of Italian Renaissance art. The name La Fornarina is not her real name. It's a nickname, Italian for the baker's girl. Her father was a baker in Trastevere, the working-class neighborhood across the Tiber from the wealthier center of Renaissance Rome. For a long time, that was essentially all anyone knew. A woman, a baker's daughter, Raphael's model, possibly his mistress. The connection to a real identity came through a single archival record. In the register of the Sant'Apollonia convent in Trastevere, there is an entry from August 1520. A woman checks in. She gives her name as Margherita, daughter of Francesco Luti of Siena, August 1520. Historians match the name, the neighborhood, the father's profession, and the timing. And the timing is where this story starts getting strange, because August 1520 was 4 months after Raphael died. I'll come back to what happened to Margherita after he died, and what she did next is not what most people expect. But before that, you need to understand what Raphael's life actually looked like when he painted this, because without that context, the bracelet and the ring don't make complete sense. By 1518, Raphael was the most powerful artist in Rome. He had decorated the Pope's private apartments in the Vatican. He had been appointed architect of St. Peter's Basilica. He was running a workshop of dozens of assistants. Cardinals competed for his time. He was also engaged to be married. Her name was Maria Bibbiena. Her uncle was Cardinal Bernardo Dovizi da Bibbiena, one of the most powerful men in Rome and one of the primary architects of Raphael's rise. The engagement had been arranged around 1514. Now, to understand why that engagement matters for this painting, and why it explains something very specific about that ring on her finger, you need to understand one thing about how marriage worked in Rome before 1545. The Council of Trent, which standardized exactly what constituted a valid Catholic marriage, didn't happen until 1545 to 1563. Before Trent, an informal union between 2 people, privately declared and consummated, had a kind of theological legitimacy that later Catholicism would remove. A marriage didn't always require a priest, a church, or a public ceremony. It could be a private commitment. Keep that in mind, because it's the reason some historians read the ring in this painting as something much more specific than jewelry. Raphael never married Maria Bibbiena. The engagement lasted 6 years. Giorgio Vasari, writing about Raphael's life decades later, said that Raphael was so devoted to a certain woman that he couldn't bring himself to go through with it. He kept delaying. He kept finding reasons. Maria Bibbiena died in 1520, the same year as Raphael. She'd been engaged to the most celebrated artist in Rome for 6 years. He never married her. And in his studio during all of it, kept privately, never sold, never given away, was this painting of a baker's daughter from Trastevere wearing his name on her arm, which brings us back to the ring. In Renaissance portrait painting, a ring on the marriage finger was not decoration. It was a language. Portraits in this period were often made to document and declare relationships, to mark a betrothal, to formalize a bond, to say something in visual terms that the viewer of the time would read immediately. There is a theory, taken seriously by several art historians and disputed seriously by others, that La Fornarina is a private marriage portrait. A declaration Raphael made in paint because he couldn't make it publicly, given the engagement he was trapped in. Under this reading, the ring says what rings said in the visual language of the time. The painting stayed in his studio because it wasn't meant for anyone else. And the pre-Trent theological context I mentioned earlier, the legitimacy of a private informal union, is exactly what makes the theory historically plausible rather than just romantic. The counter-argument is that Renaissance women wore rings, that a ring in a portrait doesn't automatically mean marriage, and that reading a private ceremony into a piece of jewellery is projecting a story onto paint. Both positions are defensible. Neither can be closed. But here's what makes this debate more interesting. The ring is actually not the strangest thing in this painting. There's something else, something I haven't mentioned yet, that changes how you look at the ring, the bracelet, and everything else Raphael put in here. Let's go back to the signature. Raphael signed his most important works, Raphael Urbinus, Raphael of Urbino, his hometown. It appears on the School of Athens, on his most celebrated paintings. It was his formal mark. Here it is on a corner of a canvas. Here it is on her arm, not painted onto the table she's sitting near, not in the background, on her body. Her skin wears his name the way you'd mark something as yours. Now, most painters who painted a mistress or a lover in this period didn't sign the painting on her. The signature went on the canvas. That was the convention. That was what hundreds of years of portrait painting had established. Raphael knew this. He had painted dozens of portraits. He knew exactly where a signature went. He put it there deliberately. And that choice, his formal name on her skin, in a painting he kept until he died, is the thing that makes the ring on her finger much harder to read as just jewellery. Because if you look at both together, the signature and the ring, you're looking at a painting where a man has written his name on a woman's body and placed a ring on her marriage finger. What he meant by that, he never explained. But there's one more thing hiding in this painting that nobody talks about as much as they should. And once you see it, the signature and the ring are almost secondary. This is the Sistine Madonna. 1512, one of Raphael's most celebrated works. The Virgin Mary, the Christ Child, Saint Sixtus, Saint Barbara, and the two famous angels at the bottom. Look at the face, and this one. Margherita Luti's face appears across Raphael's most important religious commissions throughout the years of their relationship. He was painting her face as the Virgin Mary, the woman he could not publicly commit to, the woman who wore his name on her arm in a private painting he kept locked away from the world. Her face was the face of the Mother of God in some of the most celebrated sacred paintings of the Italian Renaissance. He was doing this at the same time as the engagement to the cardinal's niece. He was painting the same face as Mary that he was painting as his secret, whatever she was to him. Now, I said earlier that what happened to Margherita after Raphael died was not what most people expect. This is the part we need to get to. Raphael died on April 6, 1520. He was 37 years old. It was his birthday. The cause was almost certainly a severe fever. His body had been pushed past its limits for years, managing enormous projects simultaneously across the Vatican, across Rome, across Italy. He deteriorated quickly. He was buried in the Pantheon. You can still visit. According to accounts written after his death, he made arrangements for Margherita before he died. He ensured she was provided for. And then, under the conventions of the Catholic last rites he was about to receive, she was not present at his death. 4 months later, Margherita Luti entered the convent. She listed her belongings as a dowry. She gave her father's name. She gave no context, no explanation, nothing about who Raphael had been to her or what the years with him had meant. She disappears from the historical record almost completely from that point forward. We don't know how long she lived. We don't know what she knew about the painting, whether she knew he'd kept it, whether she understood that his name was written on her arm in oil paint in a studio she would never enter again. Was the ring a private marriage? A declaration he made in paint because the world he lived in wouldn't let him make it anywhere else? Or is it the portrait of a man who loved someone he couldn't claim, who put his name on her skin and a ring on her finger in paint because those were the only forms of commitment available to him?